When I ask what's your sign, I mean what constellation was the sun in at the moment of your birth. The sun sign is important because it shows our basic character traits. Over the next few months, we'll cover the whole zodiac, but for now, let's talk about the sun in the sign of Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, symbolized by the ram. This animal is an interesting one. It lives in a harsh environment where it fights for dominance. It does so by picking at another ram, taunting and teasing until the battle begins, and then they headbutt for hours on end. It's fierce and determined. If it's standing, it keeps fighting. The battles are loud and dramatic, and once a winner has been selected, another fight ensues, getting the consent of ewes who don't automatically mate without a further show of strength. It likes to prove itself. As a fire sign, however, it mixes the urge to fight with an ideal. What's the ideal? To fight the good fight. And the element of rescue makes the difference. Aries takes it upon themselves to rescue people in the name of anything, especially if they think the cause falls into the category of the public good or the general welfare of the individual. If the person needing rescue is powerless, all the better. They want to help people get out from under an oppressor, even if that oppressor is someone's own hard-knock life. Aries can die from anemia if there's no cause to fight for and no banner to carry. Consider that this sign is ruled by Mars, the god of war. It's associated with battle, but also with virility and fertility. Aries loves charging ahead. Often it isn't well thought out because this sign is the most impatient of the zodiac. It's masculine and not given to sitting and contemplating or planning, so it can act recklessly. A good metaphor is that of a sperm. It holds genetic material on its head like a pair of horns, and it thinks only of competition, the single-minded charge to the egg. Its tail flaps like a little battle flag in the breeze. It survives a harsh environment and obstacles to donate what it carries. Once the sperm has won the war and completed the task, we may ask, was that a good idea? The answer is generally no. And in this metaphor, we see one of the weaknesses of the fiery temperament: impulsivity. Aries is known to go fast without thinking. In fact, they always seem to be in a hurry, as if there's an urgency to whatever they're doing, even if there isn't, and they're just getting a drink from the kitchen. They usually have a lot of energy. They can organize and move people. They're good at leading the battle, whether it's in protection of children or the environment or the rights of an underclass. However, Aries has fire's arrogance, and you see this expressed regularly in how they take up your cause when you didn't ask and don't want them to. Perhaps it's a habit of yours that he has decided you'd be better without. It's for your own good, your benefit. And that's all Aries needs to think. When you resist, you see the bellicose single-mindedness of Mars. You think it's your business if you drink beer, but they might find it a cause worthy of fighting for. Because they're visionary global thinkers, they aren't so tuned into the expression on your face or the tone in your voice. They get lost in the fog of war. But at the same time, nobody has more energy to devote to what they believe in. If they're on track, they are a formidable ally. An Aries who is satisfied with a victorious battle feels it has had a bold and meaningful adventure. The inner reinforcement Aries feels is something they want to feel again. And if that's the case, who can blame them? Aries is unconcerned with the opposition, so they won't drop their ideal just because people don't like what they're saying. Leaders of movements need this trait. A leader can't crumble from sensitivity or be excessively diplomatic. They must believe wholeheartedly in their cause. They'll champion the underdog until their dying day. They'll establish a vision. The ideal keeps them going through their doubt and fear, and they can appear strong when they're dying inside. Prior to the discovery of Pluto, Mars was said to be the ruler of both Aries and Scorpio. But Scorpio was associated with the dark and destructive, subliminal face of Mars, and Aries, the light one, the simpler one. Aries seems to lack understanding of complex manipulations in the people around them. They may even just consider this part of human nature to be nastiness and move along. Aries, like the other fire signs, doesn't believe in ordinary life. They like the idea of courtly love and grand principles. They like the idea of the knight in shining armor. I had a reading once with an Aries man who was very open about his knightliness. He'd get with women who were like broken-winged birds. One after the next, he'd patch them up, love them through it, get them functional again, and send them on their way. It's a perfect setup for Aries because they need action. It also smacks of the ideal being a little more important than the actual woman. Here, what is true of the other fire signs is doubly true of Aries. Fire lives in fantasy. A boring love affair that includes a lot of routine and meatloaf night on Tuesday is not going to keep Aries' attention. They get claustrophobic and head for the door, in spirit if not in body. While Aries has a soft side, a compassionate side that dovetails with its desire to rescue, they're often running when they hear the battle cry. Emotion, affection, and sensitivity can all but vanish. That's how they stay on the razor's edge, pushing progress. Arians are often athletic and love the competition of sports, but the more intellectual ones will charge forth with an idea, a new concept, an imaginative thought. Whatever they're doing, excitement is central. Exerting personal will is important to all the fire signs, and there must be a quest of some kind, or there's no meaning in life. It doesn't have to be a big deal to make an Aries feel alive. It doesn't have to be a global movement between superpowers. An evening of adventure can perk them up, only for a little while though. Then they'll be thinking about the next unblazed trail. They reflect on the movements they've made, the paths they've carved into unexplored ground. They live in a constant state of seeking. One of the myths associated with Aries is that of Jason going off to find the golden fleece. He takes his band of merry men, the Argonauts, with him. They make it through one trial after another and capture the fleece. His problem is one that many Aries face, and that is forgetting who helped him along the way to his victory. He disregards the woman who fell madly in love with him and did so much for him, in favor of some arm candy more befitting a victorious adventurer. He pays for that with the deaths of his children and his new love. The core of Jason's problem is that he thinks of himself, his boldness, his bravery, and his own values. There is a total disregard for the more feminine aspects of diplomacy and patience. Aries can be macho, the men and women both. The Aries shadow is deeply fragile. It comes from the feeling that they haven't earned the glory they seek. The shadow is indecisive and lazy. They can be self-important too, due to insecurity. This Aries is the type to leave the details to the peons because they're too good to be bothered. The fire element is childlike, but the other side of that is a certain childishness. They don't know how to cope if things aren't going their way. This Aries has no problem expecting you to clean up the mess after them. An Aries with a poor self-concept can do something very un-Aries, which is to turn petty. And this isn't a good look for the fieriest of fire signs. All shadows are unbecoming, but the high-minded, idealistic person who dreams of setting the world on fire turned control freak is quite the transformation. The fire element must remain generous and giving, because otherwise they will take on the petty battle. Cynicism and an ego that needs a lot of stimulation can be a destructive mix, especially in relationships. The partner finds that the Aries has gone into a bubble. In that bubble, the cause isn't big enough for anyone else to believe in. They might say the petty battle they're waging is symptomatic of a larger problem in society, but Aries should look around and see if anyone else is buying it, and if they aren't, the Ram should get on to bigger and better adventures because that's their heart's desire anyway. Thank you for watching Secrets from an Astrologer's Desk, the personality profiles, Aries. I'm Joy. More videos to come.